Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of Vibe Education. Last week we spoke about taking a slightly different tangent on what we were going to do. So now we're going to do some more CPD and training and demoing how things work. Jamie today is going to be being the teacher in this platform. Paul's going to be the unruly student who doesn't turn up, and I will be the diligent front of the class, good student that does the work. So today's lesson is going to be about introduction to Google Classroom as a teacher, how you set it up, how you can invite students, and how set some assignments, and whatever magic Jamie's going to show for us. I just want to say thank you to Extra again for sponsoring the channel, and go check those guys out. Right, Jamie, Paul, how you doing, fellas?
Yeah, all good. Busy.
It's been a busy week, but yeah, I'm all right.
It's the end of term rush. It used to be end of term chill. Well, when I say used to be, I'm thinking around like 2012, it was a bit more relaxed, and then boom, 2014 it was. But education, you never stop learning. So, Jamie, how do you want to do this? Should we just jump in? Do you want to share your screen as teacher?
Yeah, I'll share my screen, and we'll just make a start kind of thing, I think. Hopefully that will pop up in the screen in a minute.
Right, it will when I share it. So
that'd be a good start, wouldn't it? Here we go. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so I thought we'd literally start from basics. So as soon as you've got your IT administrator or yourself to set up a Google for Education account, and you've set up your account and you've got all of that started, you can use your Google menu option and go into Google Classroom, which will bring you to this screen. Now, if you're a teacher that's already got Google Classroom in your setting, you may want to use this little plus up at the top, which is the Create or Join Class tab. Okay, but as I haven't got any classes created, I can also click on these little bits at the bottom. So to start off with, I'm going to create a class. Now, when this comes up, the only thing you have to enter is the name of your class. So I'm going to call this class Right of Education. I then might put in a section, a subject. You can see different things that I've put in the past. And then if you want to assign a room, you can as well. But the likelihood is you're going to be using this as either a remote learning environment or as a means in your computing classroom, and you won't really have a designated room. So I'm going to hit create.
That section there can be edited later if you need to.
Yeah, that's the great thing about it. If you do miss something, you can go back and change it by simply just going into the settings cog at the top there. So here we go. Here's our classroom all nice and set up. We have the option to create a Meet link, which we'll have a quick look at later. We have the stream announcements bar. Okay, an announcement is slightly different to an assignment, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But to start off with, I think it would be a good start to just quickly. Oh, Paul's vanished.
Well, he's that student. We did introduce him as the one who's going to.
He's in lockdown. his internet's dropped out, and he's gone to play on the PlayStation. So,
but while we're there, shall we have a look at, while we're at this screen, should we show people how they can personalize their
I think that was kind of the next step I was going to go for. So if you can look clearly at the top here, you have a customization bar. If you click on that, it brings up the option to select a photo, upload a photo, and select the theme color. So I could choose green. I can choose different things. Now the theme color changes the text on your stream page. And if I wanted to select a different photo, there's lots of different pre-entered options that kind of cover all areas. I'm going to go for this one, bit computer techie. And then
just out of that, Jamie, do you know? Obviously, you know what the top left hand, out the two remote controllers there, the top one, you know, is an Xbox.
Yeah.
What is the bottom right one?
I want to say it's Sega something, but I'm probably wrong.
That is the controller from a NES.
The what?
A Nintendo Entertainment System. NES. It's the first one.
Yeah. Well, the first controller I had was a what was it called? A Mega Drive. Do you ever have one of them?
Yeah, Mega Drive. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely unreal. Right. Anyway, I'm gonna go for a bit of a green theme and click. Oh, it hasn't saved that. Oh, it's because I'm trying to click it on my shared screen, not actually on my other monitor. Okay, and then I'm going to click save. And as you can see, all the text has now changed to green because I set that as the theme, and the banner at the top has changed as well. You can do as much or as little with this as you want, really. It's very easy to customize, and your class information is also there if you want to use it. Now, the next step for a teacher to go for is probably to make an announcement to your class. To make an announcement, all you have to do is click on the Announcements tab. And as you can see, it will assign it automatically to all students. But if I'm going to make an announcement, the first thing I really should be doing is adding some students to my class. So as you can see at the top, we've got the stream, classwork, people, and grades. So you've got your assessment, your classwork, so the work that children will be producing, and then the people. Now, as you can see, as I've got my teacher account, I've been assigned as a teacher to the classroom because I created it. Down here is a little person with a plus. I can invite students to join the class. And as you can see, I've already added 2 children to the group for this classroom. So I'm just going to click on them and then invite them into the classroom. Now, this invite will be pending until they log in to their Google Classroom. Now, I think it'd be a good time now,
to flip over
and show from the other perspective what a student will see when they log in.
Okay, right. So, yeah, I will share my screen. And as the diligent student I am, I already signed into my Google Classroom. As you'll see, Paul probably isn't because he's too busy running away from the Wagman, or what's it, Ewo now or something. But he knew what I was talking about when I said Wagman. Anyway, right. So, Bite of Education. Here we go. This is what I would see as a student. Jamie said, yep, you can go to the dots and click on the classroom here. This would be the same through the app version through Android and through any browser. This bar at the top is called the Omnibox. Alternatively, to get to this setting here, you can just type in classroom.google.com and that will take you to this same window. It's the same as clicking the button. So simply as the student now, I can choose not to enter this class and decline it. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to click join. And that is pretty much me in the class. So shall I just share back to you? Shall I just remove this, Jamie, and then you just jump back on?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
So remove this. And where's Jamie's class? That's me? That's you. Okay.
Perfect. So now I'm back. As you can see, it looks very similar. The only difference is between the teacher and the student view is they don't have the people or the grades tab at the top. Now, the next step I'm going to go for is just a few safety settings with Google Classroom, because once you've set up your classroom, there's a few settings that you might want to have a look at before you start using Classroom, just to make sure that you've got control of what your children are doing on Google Classroom. So you can either access the settings here on Stream Settings when you first create the class, but as a general rule of thumb, I like to always go to the settings cog at the top just to get into that habit of knowing where they are. And it brings up the class details, which we filled in earlier. And as you can see, if you wanted to add more information, you can. The class description is not something offered when you first set up the class, but is something you can add later on. And then down here, we have some general settings. Now, if, for example, you use a app such as Seesaw or Class Dojo, which you use with your children, they've got access and they're used to using that, you can send an invite code through that, and then the children can set up their Google accounts that way. Using an invite link, and it's all very easy. Or you can join by a class code. But I would advise that if your children are getting Google accounts, get them used to logging in with their Google accounts, because when they go home to use their Google Classroom, that's how they will do it at home, unless you use a different platform such as Wand. But the likelihood is, especially on devices, me and James, we've had this conversation before, when children are using a tablet or a phone or something at home, quite often it's the easiest way to them to log into their account is with their email address that they've had set up to create their Google Classroom account, and then their password. And that's the thing that works most of the time. Now, here's a really important setting. At the moment, the stream is set to students can post and comment. So, James, as a slightly unruly student, would you like to post something to the class stream that a teacher probably wouldn't want to see?
You might have to refresh.
Yeah.
Just take a couple of seconds.
Now, as you can see, there is now a post that's been made by a child which says something not very nice. Okay? Paul does not seem impressed. Now, to avoid that happening, obviously, I can delete the post, but that doesn't stop James from then going posting again exactly the same thing. So if I go back into the settings tab, I can change the way that children can access and do things on the stream. What I like to set it to is students can only comment. Okay. The reason I do that is because when I make a post on Google Classroom, I want the children to be able to communicate with me if they don't understand or if they want to ask me a question. So that's the setting I go for. However, if you want your students to not be able to talk to you at all and you want a healthy work-life balance, you can select it to only teachers can post and comment and just rule over a graveyard. But particularly, I like to have students can only comment, and then I'm going to click save. So now, if I make a post to the classroom and I say, "Hello, class." I post that. That will now show up in my stream, but it'll also show up in all of the children's stream. And then if James is not quite sure about what that means, he can put a comment on his Google Classroom and ask Mr. Pointon a question, which is very straightforward. Hopefully he is going to make a comment any second now. And as you can see, it says, "Hi, sir." If you want to go into a larger version of the comment section, you can do, but at the moment it's quite easy to manage. Okay, and it's fine. Okay, there's only one comment. If I wanted to delete that comment, 3 dots, delete. I can even mute the child as well if they're making lots of comments. That is an option. So that's the straightforward basic setup of Google Classroom. Have either of you got anything to add before we move on to kind of looking at classwork and that kind of things from your experiences?
So one of the things that might be good to point out is you can do more than just comments on there. So you can drop other pieces of media. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can drop media. You can drop, copy files onto it. A lot of my children, when we were doing this during lockdown, were sending me far more comprehensive bits of work than they were doing in class. So if I set them a task, I'd get attachments and all sorts come through that I think they learned as much on it, fairly quickly as we were doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the amazing thing about Google Classroom is that it offers so many in-house tools for the children to use, but also loads of third-party things that they can also incorporate with Google Classroom, and it's all interlinked. So, are you both ready to move on?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
let's move on to the probably the most important part as a teacher, and the probably the easiest thing to do is the Classwork tab. Now, at the moment, there is no classwork. A child's dream. Nothing to do. All I have to do is sit on the computer and I can play some games on cool maths games. But if I want to start an assignment for the children, I can click on Create here. I also have the option to have a look at my Google Calendar, okay? And at the moment, you can see that there's nothing on my Google Calendar, but when I assign something, it will show up on there as well. Now, if we go back to Classwork and I click on Create, I have the option to do lots of different things here. So I can create an assignment, which is just your very generic, classic, put in some text, attach something, maybe add a link, and post it to your classroom. You can also do a quiz assignment where it links into asking the children questions, a question material where they could go and read something. And you can also create a topic here. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a topic. Now, a topic is just a subsection in the classwork, which will show up on both the children and the teachers thing. It will just allow for the tasks to be more easily laid out and just make it easier when you're looking back to go to show somebody their work. You can go, here's all the work for digital literacy, and I can show you some pieces of work from here. So if I was doing digital literacy as part of, the computing curriculum, I might start off with creating a digital literacy subject. Okay, then I can go into create and I can create one of these options. I'm going to start with a simple assignment. So here is the assignment menu. Okay, there are lots of different options here on what you can add. You can change the points total. You can change which students it's assigned to, which is really good for differentiation in the classroom. I know that in my setting, it's really important to be able to assign different tasks to different children. So by using this drop-down menu here, you can select just one child has it, or if all the children have it, and it's really good.
Jamie,
yeah.
I think it's important to point out there where you have it's all students. If you're a member of other classes, so say if your year group and you're a member of all classes, you can assign work to all the classes at the same time. So if you were creating the maths content, you can deliver all the maths content to all of the classes. So it's a really big time saving exercise there.
Yeah, I mean, because we've only got one classroom set up here,
yeah,
we're a bit limited on that option. But yeah, that's a really good point to point out. One thing that I don't particularly like about Google Classroom is this points idea. I don't really think it's applicable for primary school children. So I quite often get rid of that and just click ungraded. And then I'll give feedback and summative feedback in the comment section. You can also select due dates, for example, if you're maybe doing some homework or something different. But you can also leave that blank if you want. And now, earlier on, I created a topic. I can select the topic that I created earlier, or I can create a new one. I'm going to put it in digital literacy. And I've set up the basic things here. Now, the next bit I'm going to look at is the title. Now, part of digital literacy, which we've spoken about on the podcast over the past couple of weeks, is online safety. And I like to start each year as part of my curriculum with an online safety unit. So I'm going to just make a simple title, online safety. I also like to add in the date that I'm doing it, because then it will make it easier for me when I'm looking back. I will know exactly when I taught that lesson and when I assign that task. And then in here, I have the instructions tab. I can use bullet points. I can use bold, I can use italics, I can use underline. It's just like typing something on any other word processor you have. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach something to this task. So I have the option to upload from my Google Drive. I have the option to upload a YouTube video. I can also create things. So for example, if I haven't got anything yet, I can create some resources and attach them. I can upload or I can link. Now, what I might do is I might type in a link, and I might type in www.google.com add link. Okay, maybe I want the children to do some research and I want them to use the Google browser. I might add that link. I can add more than one link. Okay. Add link, and I can add as many links as I like. If I wanted to add something from my Google Drive, it's as simple as just adding the link there. I click on Drive, which will bring up this taskbar here, just like attaching something to an email. It's very straightforward. And you can see some different things that I've added here to my Google Drive. So I'm going to add in this Classwork tab. And I'm going to click Insert. Now, when you add something from your Google Drive, it gives you the option for different settings on how the children will view this. So you can either select it so the students can just view it, so they can't edit it, they can't make any comments on it, they just can have a look at it. You can select it so students can view and edit the same copy of that file. So that means that all of the children will be working on one document or one slides presentation or one Excel spreadsheet.
So collaborative work.
Yeah, to collaboratively work, which is what we're going to have a look at in a second. And then each individual student gets their own copy. So that will create a separate copy for every single child in your class. So I'm going to say, got it, great. I want to select students can edit the file. Okay, so that will allow James in a second to have a go at a task. Now, I've almost completed the main parts of my assignment. I might type in some instructions saying click on the link below, and then I might click assign. If you were doing an assessment, which you wanted to check if children were copy and pasting from Google, you can use the plagiarism check for originality, and it will check if people have copied things from Google, which is a really cool little thing, and it really surprises the kids when you can tell them exactly what website it's come from, because Google will tell you exactly the source on the internet where the children's got it from. And then I can assign. Now,
before you go to assign, Jamie, can you supplement that learning with a YouTube video just so we can demo the built-in YouTube search?
Yeah, perfect. So here, rather than going to YouTube, finding the link, copying the link, which takes a bit of time, you can search YouTube directly in Google Classroom for a link. So, for example, we've decided that we're going to do some online safety. So I'm going to type in online safety. And it comes up with lots of cool videos about online safety. Now, we've got some online safety for grown-ups, which I think Paul needs. So let's add that to our link. It will also give me a preview here. I can click on the video and it will play it.
We've looked specifically at online safety for kids in a previous
my
video,
browser.
and there should be a link on this.
And it will play it for you so you can watch it in Google Classroom. And once you've decided, okay, this is the video I want, you can click add video. Nice and straightforward, and it will add it as a link below. Is that what you meant, James? Yeah.
Absolutely. I just want to show the time saving of using.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to have to think along the lines of what do I do, and then why do I do it? Because obviously I use this every day. I don't really think about YouTube. It's got a built-in search bar. Oh, that's easy. So yeah, that is an amazing thing. Now up to the assign bar. Now I can just click assign, which will automatically post it to the school, to the classroom, or I can also schedule it, or I can save the draft, or I completely discard it if I think, oh, actually this isn't what I want to do. I can get rid of it. But I'm going to click assign. Now I think it'd be a good opportunity now, James, to switch back and just talk through what the student will see when they see this post coming up.
Okay, so this is my screen. I'll refresh this, and what I want to show is still on the stream. So I haven't gone into the classwork here, but you can see that even in the stream, without Jamie doing anything, it's automatically let me know that there's an assignment. I can click this and that'll take me to the topic, but I can click here and I can see the digital literacy giving me some instructions, and you can see the topic lists are on the left. the difference with the topics are you can have multiple assignments in a topic, where I've seen a lot of schools use just assignments, and you can get lost. It's fine when it's looking short, but when you end up with hundreds and hundreds of assignments, then it starts getting lost. But keeping it nice and neat within topics within that a term or half term just makes it easier to navigate. But here I am as a student, and I can see that I've got some digital work. I still haven't entered the assignment here. I can just click that, and it gives me a little snapshot of what's available, and then I can click here, view assignment.
I think it's worth saying as well that you can set your due dates for it. If you go into the assignment as a teacher, then you can see who's assigned, who's worked on it. So you see whether little Johnny is telling you that he's actually done his work, but he's not quite finished it yet, or whether he's not even accessed it. So,
yeah. Okay. So I have no work here yet because Jamie hasn't set anything to work independently. It's all as a group, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I would have looked at Jamie's instructions and gone, that's amazing. I know exactly what I'm doing now from that. Click the links below. And let's say I've done my searching, I've watched the video, and I've gone to code.org. But now I'm assuming Jamie wants me to go into the PowerPoint. So you just click on the PowerPoint. And if you notice that it hasn't closed the Google Classroom tab, it's opened a secondary one. So that means that when this is done, I haven't got to go back to Google Classroom. It's literally close the tab, and then I'm back at Google Classroom. It is also worth noting that here, this document status, there's no file and save within Google Classroom. It saves on keystroke or the end of a keystroke. So when I type a letter or something like that, then it will automatically save as I go along. So should you have a power cut, should your battery run out, or the internet stop, the work's going to be saved up to where you were, which in the past has been an incredible frustration for many a teacher and student, I guess. So, Jamie, what do you want me to do?
If you just keep your screen on there, I'm just going to show a feature that I like to use in my classroom. If you just go to the second slide for me, you'll notice on James's screen that there's a pink box showing up around this text box. And as a teacher, I can model in the lesson what I would like the children to do on their screens. So, for example, when I type on my screen, it will also do exactly the same thing on James's screen while he's sitting at his computer. So, for example, if I started talking about online safety, I might say online safety is very important. Okay, you can see there it comes up with tabs, which I can use, and I can fill in different things. It's very important because ... as a sentence starter. I can use the enter key, add in something else. I know to look after my personal information. Might put a full stop there and then say personal information is ... Okay, and then I might say to what I like to do sometimes if I'm working collaboratively, we're all working on the same slide, but I like to give the children their own slide to work on. So what I do is I go through the PowerPoint, and if James goes down on the slides, I think his is slide 3, he will see his initials, where he can have a go at using the sentence starters that I just used. So he might say online safety is important because, and then finish that sentence. And as a teacher, I can see what James is doing, And I can also be looking at the other children, monitoring what they're doing. And it's a really cool feature because you can know if the child's doing it, which is automatically making sure that you're safeguarding the children while they're using the computers and making sure they're safe. But it also it allows you to help the children with some ideas if they're not quite stuck, or if they're maybe stuck and they're not sure what to do next. So as James is typing away, I can also go onto his text box and say, what do you mean? Question mark. And that will show up on his screen, and he will see that I'm working on his screen by this little thing here. You can also use the comments tab as well, and add some comments to what is happening. And once I've made a comment, that will show up on James's screen as he's working along and can provide a bit of feedback while he's doing his work. And when he's finished his sentence, he can have a look at my comment. He can give it a tick if he agrees with it or if he doesn't. And I think when he clicks tick, it disappears and it's marked as resolved. And that means he's seen it, which is great. Now, James, I believe, can you make a comment to me on mine as a student? If you click on comments. If you go up to the top. Yeah.
Okay.
And then that might be a good opportunity for me to go back. Again, as you can see on my screen, over on the side here, there's a little notification with a little 1, which means James has sent me a message. So he's a bit stuck on his work. And on my screen, it says, "Hi, sir, help." Okay, and what I might then do is might stand up and go and talk to the child. Okay, because it's not always the best thing to be messaging the children and just sitting at your desk, but it's a useful feature so that if you're working with a little group of children and there's other children working independently, if they get a bit stuck, they're not all crowding around and they're not all following you around the classroom. It's another way to add in that communication, and it's also really good to be using when the children are working from home. I think we'll stop there with the Google Slides set of things now, and we'll just go back to our Google Classroom. So what we've done there is we've talked through a basic assignment, and we've talked through a basic announcement on the class stream. The next thing I'm going to do is just briefly mention about the integration that this has with Google Drive. Now you can see at the top, I've got my Google Drive already open. But what I can do is I can use the dots over here, just like on any Google browser or when you sign into your Google account, those dots will always be there. And I can click on Drive, which will open up my Google Drive. And what you'll notice is there is now a folder called Classroom. Now, as soon as you create a classroom in Google Classroom, this folder will show up in your Google Drive. If I click on this folder, I can see the classroom that I created. And there are currently no files in this classroom because James hasn't actually created anything, or I haven't actually asked him to work independently. But if a child creates a piece of work, this will automatically save to this folder for you. So all of their work is pre-stored, and it will be sorted into the assignments and into the topics if you do it that way as well, which is a really
It might be worth adding to that topic and showing that you can add to a topic and just add a doc and issue one out to everybody with a prompt to have, something.
Yeah.
And then
I'll quickly do that. So I'll go back into this assignment here. So for example, little Tommy's told me, "Oh, Mr. Poynton, I can't work on my document independently." So I can go to edit. I might go and add a different document if I still want that classwork one to be there. Go into my Google Drive, which is already done. And then I'm just going to add in a classwork document, but set it to...
So no, you want to click... So I'd click... If I was going to do it, I would click Create and then create a doc.
That one, sorry. Create docs.
And then that'll open up there and you just build the work post from here. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Ask a question, whatever you want to ask.
So what you might want to do here is you might do a recap from last week's lesson. So what did we learn last week? Question mark. I like to use these as a recap because it's a good way to get the children settled into the class. And then if I click on there, it makes a title. Go back to the post.
All we have to do is close as well. It automatically saves. So that's
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything, just automatically saves. And what Jamie did there when he clicked on Untitled Document, Google will pull the first few words from what you've done. So generally you start the page with recap from last week or whatever you want to put it in. It will automatically pull the first few words through as the title of the document.
Perfect. And then once I've done that, that will automatically update, and I can click save, and that will have saved the post to the children. And I think it'll be a good opportunity now, James, to go back and talk through the add or create section of Google Classroom on a post. You know, when the children access this and they can go to add or create and create their own
Well,
work.
it should. If I go, let me just go in. Did you share that as a copy for each student?
Well, it didn't give me the option to do that, bizarrely. I think that might be only because only happen when you first create the post.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Just go through it the other way.
So do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great.
Okay.
Perfect. So this is the student version, and as you can see over in the top hand corner, it's slightly different to what a teacher sees, and you can see your work. Now, this is where a child will maybe create an independent piece of work. So if James clicks on add or create, it will give him the option to do lots of different things. Now, James can upload something from his Google Drive. Maybe if he's worked on a document at home and he wants to put that in, he can. A link to something else, a file, maybe a photo. But at the bottom are the ones we're interested in at the moment. Now, it has the option of doing a Google document, a Google Slides, a Google spreadsheet, or a drawing. Now, at the moment, what I'd like James to do is click on Docs, which will automatically create a Google document for him. Now, as he's got pop-ups blocked, he will have to click on the document itself in the Work tab, which will then open up in a separate window, still keeping Google Classroom open, which James mentioned earlier. And here is his document. Now, James can work on that document. His computer can run out of battery. His Chrome browser can turn off. But that document now will automatically save after every keystroke, which is a really good thing to have as a teacher, because children are prone to turning things off when they're not meant to, or clicking on something, or pressing the big X in the corner because they thought it was interesting because it went red when they hovered over it. But it will save anything he now clicks automatically. And if we can share back to my screen, I now believe that when I go to Google Drive and look at the Classroom tab, we can see a file that has now been created by James, and that's automatically been synced straight through to my folders. He hasn't typed anything yet. He hasn't done anything yet on that document, but as soon as he creates it, that syncs through with your Google Drive, which is a really cool thing as a teacher to have. So that's that side of things. So let's just go back to Classroom and let's just pause for a second. Paul, is there anything you want to add? I sense that you just kind of a bit left out in the corner there.
No, it's usual for me to be sat in the corner. But I am going to have to leave you, gents, because my master's course started 15 minutes ago. So,
sorry, buddy. So
I'm going to have to go. I've dropped a message in the chat. All right. So nice. I'll speak to you in the week. Right.
Okay, bud.
But good so far. Everything that you've done there, Jamie, matches what I was doing on Google Classroom and what we're still doing once a week, just to keep that going in the class and keeping the kids up to date with all the latest changes and nuances that come in with Google every now and again. So it matches exactly what I've been doing, which is really quite encouraging. So, right, I'm going to have to say good
Paul.
night.
Yeah, I'll see you, Paul. But Paul made a good point before in the chat. Was basically, I think we've got to the point where we've issued out an assignment. The children have interacted with it. I reckon Paul says if we put a line here and then continue from this point moving forward.
Yeah, I think
we should look at streams and what that can offer, how we can put into, we can build attendance into the streams, particularly, God forbid, that we ever go back into lockdown or anything. But it's a great time saver again. So I'm going to say good night, gents. I'm going to have to go. All right.
See you later, Paul. Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So Jamie, let's put a definitive line there, and from here we've created a class.
Yep.
Created an assignment. Create a class. Set up that class. Safeguarded how the children can communicate without the teacher's intervention, and I totally agree with you. Children can comment, but not children can reply to comments is the one that I always recommend, just because it's a bit lonely place there, just dropping messages to everybody. I think children need a voice, but that voice needs to be monitored somewhat. So you've issued out create a topic, issued out the assignment, shown that you can set those schedule those assignments to come out at different times. What might be good is next week is we create a new topic, but then we'll archive this post next week and then show how we can reuse some of the assignments. And the assignments it's the assignments, not the topics. And that's where your date thing comes in, because you can kind of go back and reference those.
Yeah, I think we've kind of hit everything I kind of wanted to hit this evening. I wanted to just kind of sat down the basics of what Google Classroom is, the basic things you can do with it, the kind of things that if you're going to use it at the very base level, these are the things you're going to need to know how to do, how to safeguard it, how to make a post, how to see what the children are doing, how to go and look at it in your Google Drive. And that's kind of the most important things when you're first starting out in Google Classroom. I 100% agree. I think over the next couple of weeks, we just build on this. We add different things, start looking at the more complicated bits and pieces that are associated with Google Classroom. But I think everything we've talked through tonight, very straightforward. If there's anybody that's watching this on YouTube or on any of the other our social media platforms, if you've got any questions or anything, please give us a message and we'll try and address those when we're next on the podcast.
Yeah. So, and I think one of my ideas was to show how we can deliver different parts of the curriculum using the platform. So we could drop a geography topic there, a history topic there. We could drop, obviously, computing is going to be the one of the ones, and e-safety should be its own topic, and we can start showing how we can integrate some of Google's and other people's tools within the platform. So setting up our own little classroom really, and start going through how we would use it to deliver learning to your number one student. I mean, granted, I'm your only student.
If I go to my little students tab, little Paul, he still doesn't want to join the classroom. Bless him.
But no, that's great. So I hope that was useful, everybody. And thank you very much, sir. That was you're a very good teacher. I will, nice big red apple for Christmas this year. And I hope everybody has a great morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you're watching this. And look forward to seeing you all in episode 8. Right. I'll see you later, Jamie.
See you later.
See you. Bye.